the hottest of the year now. In the last 2 days, it's been unbearable and humid also, waiting for the rain. Although monsoon has officially come, but we really haven't had much rain. So hoping today or tomorrow.
So has it started raining in Dharamshala, Dr. Soni? कि अभी धर्मशाला में भी नहीं आया है? I think. Are you there, Dr. Soni?
Yeah, I'm here.
So Dharamshala started raining, sir, or
Yeah. For the whole month, we are having spells of rain at Dharamshala since the
lovely.
first week of June. And yesterday also there was a very heavy storm as well as a heavy rain. And
wow.
I believe Dharamshala is the second most rainy place in India after Cherrapunji. Is that true?
Yeah, it's true.
It is. So I remember my geography, Vivek. The monsoon from both sides converges in Dharamshala, from the Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal. And the Dhauladhar, it hits the Dhauladhar mountains and it provides rain to Dharamshala. Am I right in my geography, Dr. Soni?
Yeah, you are absolutely right. It is the big ball, that is the Dhauladhar, which provides the good atmosphere for this heavy rains. And even the monsoon, when it started from Kerala, the pre-monsoon was already active in Dharamshala.
Excellent. So I think it's time to start, sir. If you allow me, Vivek, Dr. Soni, we should start.
Sure.
So good morning, everyone. Good morning, teachers. Good morning, Vivek. Good morning, Dr. Soni. It's my honor and privilege to welcome you to Ideas That Matter, series of webinars by Shoolini University, Solan, Himachal Pradesh. Ideas That Matter was a small idea that Vivek and I started with. It was an idea to reach out to all of you, to reach out to teachers, share ideas, and hopefully inspire our students in the process. So we're delighted that we've done around 60 webinars now across India, across colleges and schools across India. We've touched more than 100,000 teachers so far, and it's an honor and delight to speak to Government College Dharamsala today. Our host for the day is going to be my very dear friend, Vivek Atray. Vivek is an ex-IAS officer, a TEDx speaker, a motivational speaker, an author of 3 books, also the architect and the visionary behind the IT Park of Chandigarh, which all of us know as something that transformed the region, a dear friend and a visiting professor at Shoolini University. Thank you, Vivek, for being here today. My name is Atul Khosla. I'm the Pro Vice Chancellor and founder of Shoolini. I'm a BTech from IIT Kanpur. I did an MBA post that, so I would not claim in front of Dr. Soni that I remember much of physics, but I did study a lot of physics during my days. I spent 20 years in the industry in consulting across 7 different countries when the teaching bug hit me, and I am a very proud teacher now, and I'm delighted to speak to all of you. So Vivek and I are going to take you through this fascinating topic of finding success within. And Vivek, of course, is going to be taking the major portion of the talking. Dr. Soni, before we start, we'll appreciate if you can give a 1-minute introduction to your college and the exciting work you're doing, and we'll then hand it over to Vivek. Over to you, Dr. Soni.
Yeah, I am Dr. S.K. Soni from Government of Dharamshala. Dharamshala College is one of the oldest colleges of Himachal Pradesh. And at present, we are having a capacity of nearly 5,500 students in different streams, UG, PG courses like MBA, MCA, BTech, Computer Science, MCOM, MSc Chemistry, MSc Geography, MCOM, MA English, and all types of the basic courses of UG Science, BA, all combinations. And apart from that, this college is also running some courses authorized by the HP government, that is the Bachelor in Vocational Courses. And this Dharamshala college is feeding this education to the students of not only the students of district Kangra, but the students of Lahaul and Spiti, Chamba, Kinnaur, Sirmaur, and J&K, and along with the students of Punjab. So for this webinar, I welcome Professor Atul Khosla, the founder and the Pro Vice Chancellor of Shoolini University, for this live webinar. And Most importantly, the today's invited speaker, Mr. Vivek Atray, who is an ex-IAS officer, and as I was reading his profile, he is a public speaker. He has a created large number of books. He is a columnist in the Hindustan Times and many more papers, and many more. He has started some very innovative works in the field of education. And nowadays, he's the visiting professor of this Shoolini University. So I welcome him for this live webinar, and our
Thank you.
staff of this college is eagerly waiting to listen to his views on the topic, that is finding success in within. So I
Thank you.
welcome Mr. Atul Khosla ji and Mr. Vivek Atte for this live webinar. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you very much, Dr. Soni. It's an honor. As we were saying, Government College Dharamsala is one of the most prestigious colleges in North India. So it's an honor to speak to all of you. I won't take much time because I think the honor has to go to Mr. Atray, who has such wonderful things to say and is such an inspirational speaker. So to you, Vivek, over to you. The format is going to be around 25 to 30 minutes of talk, and we will then get into a Q&A. And I'll request you at that point of time, Dr. Soni, to please come over. Till then, as speakers speak, I think we as panelists will mute ourselves and stop our video, and Vivek will talk to us, and we will keep coming into the discussion. Vivek Atray, over to you.
Thank you very much, Atul Khosla. Very nice to be here once more. And thank you, Dr. Soni, for the welcome. And it's a lovely pleasure to be speaking to the staff and the teaching staff of Government College Dharamshala. Also, Dr. Soni is from physics, and my father was from physics. He was MSc Physics, honors from PU. And he came into the IPS at a very young age of 21 years. So that is the physics connection. I also studied physics and then went to electronics engineering in NIT Kurukshetra. So like Atul, I studied a lot of physics as well. So very nice to be here. And this is a part of, as Atul said, the Ideas That Matter series of Shoolini University. It's a wonderful series, a wonderful initiative that has taken us to many places through webinars. We are very proud to have touched many lives through this series. And Atul and I have spoken together on all these topics. I'll request him to come in later in the program and give his inputs and interventions and also show us some inspiring videos. So let me say that finding success within, which is the topic of today, is a very important topic close to my heart. And if I ask people whenever I go, I say, what is the goal of life? They say success. And if I ask students, they might even say satisfaction. They might say beating challenges or something like that. But ultimately, one student will come up with the right answer, and that answer is actually happiness. Happiness is the goal of life. And usually, and this I may be biased, but I always find that in a big hall, excuse me, excuse me, in a big hall of students, usually it is a young lady who says happiness is the goal of life. And why is happiness the goal of life and not success? It's important to understand, even for teachers, even for grown-ups. The goal of life actually depends on how we feel from within. If we are very, very successful in worldly terms, we have got lots of promotions, we have done well in business, in sports, in academics, in whatever, yet we don't feel that peace within, or we don't feel any calmness, any happiness within, then that success is incomplete, without meaning. Also, if that success is at the cost of family, being with the family, if it is at the cost of personal health and personal, what one of my uncles, former IPS officer, Mr. V.K. Kapoor says, personal health and personal wealth are very important. So he says it is important to be comfortable, but it is also important to be healthy, and it is important to be content and happy from within. So that success which gives happiness is true success. And where does it come from? It comes from our attitude actually. A small shopkeeper or even a phadiwala, rediwala, somebody who is reasonably comfortable getting enough money to look after his family, send his children to school, and is able to earn a decent, not maybe decent, but less than adequate earning, which is still okay for him. But he's very cheerful, very gung-ho, very happy, very, happy with life. That attitude is probably missing in people who are richer, who are well off, who are well placed in life. There are people who are very, very powerful, yet they become unpleasant, arrogant. They become even impossible to be with. There are people who cannot even be tolerated at times because they are so full of themselves, so much, just you can say just shouting at people, irritated by people, and being very uncouth and uncivilized. So, what is the kind of success that we are looking for? How do we find it? Let's say we are teachers. I'm also a visiting professor. Atul is a professor and pro vice chancellor. Dr. Soni is a professor. Let us say we are all teachers. So, what is the success that teachers should look for? Of course, success in the profession of teaching means inspiring students. And as Atul often says, making the less than ordinary student become extraordinary. Whoever is already outstanding, it's easy to make him extraordinary. But then working with students and inspiring them over the years and earning a reputation, earning goodwill, earning respect, that is what success is for a teacher. And that comes from within. It comes from an attitude that the teacher exudes, that the teacher displays in front of others. That teacher who is like a role model, someone who students want to emulate, even junior teachers want to emulate, become like him or her. And she or he is so charismatic or such a good personality, so warm, so pleasant, so cheerful. It is very, very important for us to realize this, that teachers who inspire are successful teachers. And they may be, of course, very good at their subjects or may not be the best in their subject. Yet they are able to inspire students to become complete personalities, all-rounders, good human beings. That is what matters. Even in a college, school teachers, of course, have more to play with in a way because the children are still young. They are very small in age and they have more pliability. However, college students can also be inspired by teachers who are enthusiastic in their work, who are capable, who are hardworking. And let us say that teachers who are carrying themselves well, conducting themselves well, coolly, calmly, they are more respected than those who lose their temper too frequently. This calmness is a great sign of success. Calmness is a great quality also. A person who doesn't get easily ruffled is a successful person, doesn't get easily disturbed. I've seen many leaders. Leaders doesn't mean political leaders. I've seen administrators. I've seen educational leaders. And I've seen many of them getting disturbed, many of them getting distressed by small happenings, irritated. So it's not the sign of a successful leader at all. A person who retains his cool and calm and remains balanced and composed is someone who is more successful. I think at this point, I'm going to hand over to Atul Khosla for his inputs, and then we will continue with more of a discussion. Atul will also tell you his thoughts on success and hopefully also show us a video. Atul.
Thank you, Vivek. It's an honor again to share and co-host along with you. Lovely to share my thoughts. I'm excited. To me, success is not just about being successful oneself and being happy oneself, but it is also about passing on success to others and making others happy. And I think who would be in better position to do that than teachers? Every day of our life, we are trying to make our students happy. We're trying to make them successful. And I always believe, Vivek, that with one student successful, we're possibly changing 15 to 20 other lives, especially in an environment like India. So hats off to all of us, teachers. Vivek, you're a teacher now. You decided to leave the IAS to become a teacher. So hats off to you. Few people can and take this jump, I would say, or have the courage to sort of do this. So what I would like to bring in are three concepts over here. The first is the concept of inspiration. I always believe that teachers are in the business of inspiration, not in the business of making students just rote things, because once inspiration happens, students learn. I can tell about myself. I was not a great student. When I went to Government College Solan, I'm a product of Government College Solan, 11th and 12th. But I had some inspirational teachers at Government College Solan, and they pushed me to prepare for the IIT exam, the JEE, and I cleared the JEE to become the first Himachal student to clear the JEE. And I did my BTech from IIT Kanpur, aerospace engineering, and then picked up a career in a multinational consulting firm called McKinsey to again come back to teaching because that's what I love. The same passion we have, Vivek, is at Shoolini, which I'm sure is there at Government College Dharamsala. I would like to show a small video of Shoolini because I also believe that inspiring spaces create happiness. Inspiring places create that fire in the belly for students to want to do exciting things. As Churchill said, put the gardens in place. Once we have them, people will get inspired and do magical things and be happy in the process. So if you allow me, Vivek, I'm going to show a small video and we will then carry on with our discussion. So here you go. Thank you, Vivek. Well, when we think about success and we think about happiness, I think there are two more thoughts I'd like to bring in, which I think Vivek touched on. The first is the whole thought of creativity. So how do we bring creativity into our students, into ourselves, into the way we teach? And how do we bring in the whole concept of perfection into what we do? I think if we can bring inspiration, creativity, and perfection together, attitude, as I call it, magic happens and people succeed, happiness flows, or the other way around, happiness happens and success happens along with it. So Vivek, at this point of time, I'd like to mention that, the old school used to say that learning is what creates success. Learning of subjects, learning of areas of expertise or even skills. We know that learning is actually happening through artificial intelligence now. We already know that knowledge is there at the press of a button. So the new skills which are needed today for our students and for us are what we call me skills and we skills. Me skills are the ability to lead, the ability to inspire, the ability to learn, the ability to unlearn. Very important, unlearn. And we skills are the ability to collaborate, the ability to lead, the ability to work with each other. And that's where emotional intelligence or EQ comes to play. And it is so very, very important that I think we imbibe these things into our students to make sure that they're happy and become successful. I'll come back to the whole correlation between happiness and success after you, Vivek, but I'd love to hear from you this whole world of meditation, that you are so eager about, excited about, how it's changed your life. I'd love to hear your story, Vivek. And before we go, because there are lots of physicists here, including Dr. Soni, I have to hear the Einstein story again. Over to you, Vivek.
Okay, sure. Lovely, Atul. Very good thoughts. And I totally agree. These me skills and we skills. The me skills, which Atul talked about, let me just add to that. See, if we start recognizing our own interior makeup or our inner being, then we will be able to find out ways to be more successful. First, we have to analyze what are we like at the age of 30, 40, 50, whatever we are, 60, 70, wherever we have reached. We are of a certain characteristic. We are not perfect because we are human. So what are those things that we lack? Supposing we lack patience, supposing we lack calmness, supposing we lack creativity. So what is it that we need to work on? If we understand that, then we will be able to really make a mark, because we'll be able to understand ourselves and we'll be able to see that we are actually made up of certain positives and certain negatives. If we introspect and analyze at the end of the day or at the every Sunday, then we will find what we need to do to move forward. You have to turn the spotlight of introspection upon your own self. Instead of we human beings typically criticize others, but are very soft on themselves. But if we are harsh on ourselves a little bit, strict, then we'll see that perhaps we lose our temper more than required or more than necessary. Perhaps we are a little difficult to get along with at times when we become moody and moods are taking over our lives. Paramahansa Yogananda, author of the autobiography of a yogi, said, moods are your greatest enemy. He says that moods make you speak and do things which actually you don't mean to do or say. So the book where this gyan comes from is the autobiography of a yogi. And the autobiography of a yogi is the best book to read. All of you who have read it, you must read it again, I must suggest. And those of you who have not should actually read it for sure. Paramahansa Yogananda, autobiography of a yogi. And this is for actually scientifically minded people also. It is not only a spiritual book, it is definitely a life-changing book. And he says, carry a portable paradise within you. Be calmly active and actively calm. And he says things like moods are your greatest enemies. So we need to understand our inner makeup, our inner being. What is happening inside of us? What is our mind telling us most of the time? Is our mind a positive mind 80, 90% of the time? Or is it positive only 20% of the time? And usually we are not. If we are complainers and we are criticizing others all the time, then we need to take a reality check and improve. So what can we do? We introspect, we read. Those teachers, those professionals, those government officers or any other professional, they need to read books. Those who read books are a step ahead of others. In a conversation, in a debate, in a discussion, in a meeting, a book reader will always stand out. And books, of course, of your own subject are important. Also, I think autobiographies, fiction, sports-related books, anything that gives you inspiration. Books will give you more to talk about. more to quote from. Very, very important. Now, Atul has told me, and he's rightly saying that there are physics people there and Einstein is your favorite. So I'm going to tell you the story of Einstein's driver. And then I'm also going to tell you the story of two popes, because I saw a film called The Two Popes recently. So why am I telling you these stories? Because they give us the meaning of success. Okay, so Einstein was on a round of American universities and he was speaking on the theory of relativity. E is equal to mc square, and he was going around and teaching. For 1 hour he would speak and then there would be questions, and every day he would stay at one place, go to the next town the next day. Now his driver was the same. 24 places they visited. They were going to the 25th town. The driver had not spoken till today. And suddenly on an empty road going to the 25th place, the driver says to Mr. Einstein, he says, Mr. Einstein, I have heard your lecture 24 times sitting at the back of the hall. I think even I can deliver this lecture now. Mr. Einstein is quite delighted. He is quite happy actually that his driver can deliver his lecture. And Einstein is a great man, humble man. He says, wonderful. He says, I'll become the driver, you become Einstein, you sit at the back. And we'll go there. They don't know how I look because this was early 1920s, 30s, whatever. And they didn't have photographs. So he says, they don't know how I look, we'll go there. So the driver sits at the back and is received by the university officers and is taken inside. Einstein goes and sits at the back of the hall like a driver, and the driver goes on the stage and very confidently, without mistake, for 1 hour, he delivers a lecture on the theory of relativity without any flaw. People cheer, people clap, wonderful lecture. Einstein claps the loudest and he cheers from the back. And as happens, and you are also professors, so professors have very ticklish questions. One professor gets up and asks a question which is extremely complicated. And the driver looks at him and pauses and says, oh, sir, that's a very, very simple question. Even my driver sitting at the back can answer it. So, of course, the driver at the back knows all the answers. This is a story which gives us 4 or 5 qualities that the driver had. The driver had confidence. The driver had intelligence. He could grasp the lecture. Even 24 times, Einstein delivering a lecture on the theory of relativity, you and I may grasp a little bit, but not much, maybe. At least I won't. He could grasp the whole lecture. He could deliver the whole lecture, which is a different skill, confident delivery on the stage, public speaking skills. He could retain his calmness under pressure. Firstly, the pressure of appearing on stage before scientists, professors. Secondly, when a question is asked, he has the presence of mind to say that my driver can answer it. It's such a simple question. So what do we learn? We learn calmness helps us. Calm confidence, quiet confidence, not overdoing it, not underdoing it. Calm confidence is a great quality to have for a successful person. And what do we learn from the two popes? There was a movie recently, I saw it on Netflix, it's there. So there is one pope, and I won't name the popes, they were there in the last 20 years. One of the popes is going out and he's becoming difficult for the Catholic Church. There are a few allegations and there are things happening. He's old now. He decides to resign. He invites whom he thinks to be his successor to spend a couple of days with him and to observe that now I'm going to resign and this person is likely to become pope. Let me see. That person, that pope, the new likely pope, is very much the opposite. He is quite humble, quite shy, quite against expenditure, against show, against too much of display of power, wealth, anything. The previous pope is balanced, but a little bit he has been like that. So this pope, the qualities, the humility that the new pope displays, and the charm and the significance, it is a personality who inspired me just a couple of days ago. So that's why I'm sharing with you. that even at the top, even when we are extremely powerful, I mean, what are we normally? We are normally director, professor, deputy commissioner bhi ho gaya, chalo, theek hai. I have been deputy commissioner. These are important posts, no doubt. But we are not the president of the United States or of Prime Minister of India or even the Pope. Even if we are, it doesn't mean that we become arrogant or immodest. So, however high the position, a person with humility who adorns it is truly successful. Greatness comes from humility. People who are equally successful, one of them becomes great. Let's say Sachin Tendulkar became great, Vinod Kambli could not. Perhaps there was something between the 2 years or something in the mind which prevented Kambli from going on. Kambli sounds like calmly, but obviously he wasn't as calm as Tendulkar. He lost his way. Even Yuvraj Singh, I mean, Shoolini has a beautiful Yuvraj Singh Stadium. If you ask Yuvraj, he would have loved to have some of the qualities of head and heart that Sachin Tendulkar has. And Yuvraj could have been doubly successful. So much talent, beautiful player. So humility also leads to success. And let me say a couple of other things. Creativity, already mentioned by Atul. Creativity leads to success because creativity makes us think differently. And if students become creative, then a college and institution becomes great because they produce new ideas. Shoolini, for example, has been producing great research and great ideas have come from inspiring personalities, faculty, and campus. I love going and meeting these students there. So a campus or an institution or an organization that encourages change, innovation, creativity, also very much leading to successful people being creative. So I think that's good enough for now. I have a book to show before I hand over to Atul. My book is called Finding Success Within, which is the same topic as the topic of the day here today. And even if it doesn't look like me, that is me on the book's cover. And this is 52 life skills for young people. It is about finding success from within, qualities needed to be successful for young people. Available on Amazon. A lot of people are reading it. I posted yesterday pictures of 4 people from throughout India who have read it or posed with it. So this is where I give more ideas on the book. A lot of my YouTube videos also can be watched by your students and your colleagues and your families. I have 25 lakh views on YouTube now. And it's lovely to be part of this series of ideas that matter, which has added to that number significantly because every video of ours goes to 1,000 or more views, maybe 5,000 at times. And then we are adding up the numbers and encouraging people to be positive and successful and happy. Over to you, Atul, for more ideas, and we can move on with the rest.
Thank you very much, Vivek. It's like I again said, beautiful thoughts. I'm going to talk a minute about creativity and inspiration and leadership. And I'm going to bring in the example of a very dear student of ours. Her name is Aman. Aman was a difficult student, not the brightest of students, but some magic happened during a PhD. Her undergrad and masters were relatively average. Aman comes from Punjab, comes from a relatively lesser privileged family. So odds were against her. But let's look at what she did for her PhD. She discovered a molecule which, when added to water, kills bacterial activity by 99.9%. She could change the way the world drinks water. She's been awarded the Young Water Fellowship, which is a very prestigious US fellowship, a United Nations fellowship, to go and spend 6 months in Geneva, which she did. 100,000 researchers across the world applied for it, and she won it. She then came back and won the Tata Trust Award, which is 25 lakh of rupees. So what makes Aman successful? And what makes Aman happy, I would ask. I think it's so much about being fearless, having the ability to think outside the box, collaborate with other people, and of course, exceptional leadership from her guide. So I'm going to show this small video because this is so inspirational for me and for hopefully all of you. Vivek, if you allow me. And that's when magic happens, Vivek. The last thought I'm going to leave is the correlation between happiness and success. So Vivek, as I've spoken about it in the past, there was a research done by Harvard University where they tracked 3 generations of students, 3 generations of people who were either at Harvard or had spent time on the streets of Boston. And they tried to understand what makes people successful. The odds were in the favor of students of Harvard. But surprise, surprise, 3 generations later, success was equal between students of Harvard and the guys who were growing up on the streets of Boston, which is the ghettos next door to Harvard. So what was the result? The result was very simple. The differentiating factor between people who succeeded and didn't succeed was happiness. People who were happy had a higher probability of success than the people who were unhappy. And what gave happiness? Friendships, family, ability to deal with the community, interact with the community. These are the 3 traits which made people happier. And the answer was very simple. People who were loners, who did not have friends, who did not have support, they were more likely to fail than people who had communities. And I think we can associate that with ourselves also. People who come from families that are happy, people who come from situations where they have a lot of family support or friend support are more likely to succeed. But more importantly, Vivek, they also expected to live longer, expected to live beyond 80 years of age. So my last thought is going to be happy, because if you're happy, you're going to be successful. If you're successful, you need not be happy, and definitely your next generation might not be even successful. So be happy, don't be a loner. This is the time to reach out to your friends. This is the time to reach out to your family, your parents, and others who are your biggest support. So let's be happy. Let's get into meditation. Let's learn all the tricks that Vivek has he's been so articulate about and inspired us. And let's make ourselves a happy nation. Vivek, over to you.
Thank you so much, Atul. Very well spoken and very inspiring indeed, these ideas. I totally agree about the happiness part. I was listening to you and thinking that, you and I probably realize these things much later in life, but still much earlier than many others. So each one goes through his own journey. 20 years ago, we might have been talking about something else, definitely talking about something else. And this happiness quotient or happiness as an endeavor of life is something which people don't realize for a very long time. So the sooner the better. And meditation, you mentioned it, we haven't talked about it till now. Meditation gives us this true happiness. Actually, we are a composite of body, mind, and soul. And the soul will be happy only if we nurture it through meditation and prayer and scriptures and spiritual practice. What is spiritual practice? Basically, it is finding your true self within. And what is the purpose of life according to the scriptures? The purpose of life is to find God, find yourself, your true self. And that is God-like, believe it or not. So we have to basically go within through meditation. I follow Kriya Yoga where I contemplate, I meditate, I concentrate on the point between the eyebrows, hopefully. And then your mind keeps getting distracted. You bring it back, keep bringing it back. And then you do some techniques. So all of us go through this journey. Once you start meditating, then also it's a journey. But at least you have started. Even 10 minutes, 15 minutes must be a part of your day. And it's not enough to just say your prayers in the wherever Mandir, Gurdwara, and then come back. It's not enough. So we have to meditate, find peace within, and then we find the journey of life to be extremely happier than before. Happiness and spiritual practice are also linked to each other. What do you also want
Absolutely.
to?
No, I just wanted to add a few things. I think happiness is so critical because success does come through happiness. Students get happier, they become more successful. So I'll request, because there are lots of teachers over here, that you need to promote that happiness inside your college, which I'm sure you do. So we did a few things very interestingly at Shoolini, Vivek. Last year we brought in happiness as part of our mission. So we have 4 missions at Shoolini. The first is around research and innovation. The second is around honesty and compliance. The third is about making students from smaller towns of Himachal successful. And the fourth one, which we just added last year, was to say we want to bring in happiness and spirituality into every person that we touch. And there are a few very simple things we're doing. We're trying to bring in programs and courses in spirituality and happiness into our curriculum. So every student goes through 1 or 2 courses, standard courses, structured courses around these areas. We think that helps. I've given a mandate to my landscaping officer to say that we should have color all the time. Color and flowers make people happy. So I'm saying that at any point of time, there should be color around in the form of flowers. There should be beautiful gardens around. There should be beautiful places. We've created tree houses across the campus where students can sit or faculty can sit. We have brought in eating spaces. Eating, by the way, releases certain set of hormones that make people happy. So we're trying to bring in that into quality food, quality cafes into the campus. So I think these are small things that all of us can do. Bring in art into liberal arts into the campus, creating a museum. I think these are all inspiring things that all of us can do as teachers and make people's lives more inspiring and more happy. And I think last but not the least, I think we should not be passive aggressive, which basically means if there is something in our mind, something in our heart, we should speak it out, of course, in a nice way to our colleagues, to our friends, to our students, rather than eating all those negative thoughts and then falling sick. So those would be my last thoughts, because success and happiness are so strongly correlated, Vivek. Now tell me, as we love more questions from the audience, and I'll request Dr. Soni also to come in, because I'd like to understand and hear some of the things that Dr. Soni is driving at Government College Dharamsala. So if you could unmute yourself, Dr. Soni, if you're there, and you can come on screen, we'll appreciate that. But before we do that, Vivek, tell us, you've had such an amazing career in the IAS. Are you happier now, or were you happier then? And do you regret leaving the IAS? I mean, how do you benchmark success? Because I know some people would be very, very, there must be lots of queries which say, Vivek, why did you leave the IAS? You could have retired as the chief secretary. You were like at the peak of your career. You were the blue-eyed boy of Chandigarh, I know that. And you left all of it to become a motivational speaker. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, thank you, Atul, for asking. It's a difficult thing to understand from outside, but I felt that my journey was going to be more than just a career in government, and I realized that I need to be more creative than the government allows me to be. At some stage, I also felt that I need to inspire people more than I'm able to do, and become a motivational speaker. That is one of the ways to do it. I also felt that at the age of 50, I felt that, I've done a bit, I've done some good work, I guess. And that needs to be added upon by being more in touch with society. I can be more accessible to people now. I'm much happier than before. But I was happy there too. My philosophy is to be happy in the moment, and I don't regret it at all because that is with me. It is a part of my life, having been an IAS officer, and nobody can undo that. So it is adding to my value, I guess, in webinars and speeches and wherever I go. People listen to me a little more carefully, and I think that adds to the aura. So it's all a composite of various things. I think what you're saying is absolutely right. It's difficult to understand, but you know that the journey of life is about finding that happiness within. And now I feel that I'm poised. That's why I can inspire others. If I myself am feeling content and happy from within, I can't do it if I'm not, if I'm myself uneasy. So I was pretty much comfortable then, but I don't think I would have been very happy right now in the government. I would have been getting a little unhappy now. So I'm happier
No, but
outside.
I think it's also about finding the why or the purpose of life. Again, coming back to success, there's a very famous and a very seminal lecture on TEDx, which talks about why are some organizations or some people more successful than others. And he argues that people with a purpose in life, with a why in life, or even organizations tend to be way much more successful than people who just have very short-term goals. So, Dr. Soni, you've had so many students. We'd love to have your camera on, Dr. Soni, if you can, please. So, you've had so many students. I'm sure lots and lots of them would be very successful by now. So, what do you think would have been the top 2-3 traits of your successful students? तीन चार क्या चीजें हैं जो आपके बड़े successful जो students हैं, जो toppers हैं, or I'm sure there might be some IAS officers who are students of yours, or HAS. So, what was so special about them?
Yeah, special. There are certain students who are able to join IAS, even IFS,
Absolutely.
Himachal Administrative Services, Police Services, and a lot of students are there from this area who have joined the officers in Army, Air Force, and Navy.
Yes.
Yes.
And every year, 5 to 10 students, they got selected for IMA. The reason being for that is we in the college we are having a very strong wing of NCC, both for girls
Fantastic.
and the boys. And the advantage for that is because the army headquarters is near to Dharamshala Yor. So the different CEOs of army they used to come and train our students, and that's one of the reasons that our students they got selected for IMA and for Air Force and through OTA. And
Fantastic.
secondly, because this college is itself has a big name in Himachal, so students from the different parts of the state they have the craze to study in this college, and the academic atmosphere is good. So the students they get benefited from the experience of the teachers, the rich source of our library, which is having about more than 1 lakh books, and the students they're putting best efforts to for the different types of subsidies, whether it is the administrative, these are the teaching or other subsidies. So the students are highly motivated. And one more thing, because Mr. Vivek Atray has also talked about the spirituality. So the atmosphere of this dharmshala, because of these dharadars, it is the charged one. Lot of positivity is there, and the negative. Very rarely the people will be having the negative thoughts, and the people are charged always, and they have the focusing of their thoughts in one direction, and that's why the lot of people are successful. Even
Very good.
the our film star Devananda Devanand has also been the student of this government college Dharamshala. So the
Wow.
credit goes to this college Dharamshala, that a film star has also been the product of this college. And Mohit Chauhan is also the student of this college.
Singer.
A great singer. So the credit I can say that goes to this the positivity and the atmosphere around Dharamshala, and that's where the positivity is more and the negativity is less. That's where the students are successful.
Good reason.
So lovely to hear this, sir. And of course, आप तो हर जगह से एक कर्म भूमि पे बैठे हैं. Whether it's the Dholadas, whether it's the Dalai Lama, so you've got the benefit of all worlds. Buddhism, Hinduism, all of them conferencing into a beautiful place. So we are very jealous of you. You know, it is so beautiful out there in Dharamsala. But so we have to come and visit you also.
Yeah.
I
I
think, and of
invite
course
you.
we'll
Whenever you
absolutely.
find time, you're most welcome to visit to Dharamshala.
And I'll also invite all your teachers and all the faculty members and students and you to visit Shoolini. We are not as beautiful as Dharamsala, but quite beautiful, as I did show in my video. It's very nice out here also, and we try to maintain a great environment over here. I'm not sure whether you visited, Dr. Soni, but we'd love to have you over. So I think we're coming to an end, Vivek. It's we promised 45 minutes, and we are like 4 minutes up. So before we close, as I always do, I'm going to ask you to give your last thoughts, and I'll request Dr. Soni to give his last thoughts before we close. Over to you, Vivek.
Thank you, Atul. Last thoughts are that to find success, you have to be calm. You have to work on your body, mind, and soul. You have to introspect and be happy from within. And then success will come naturally to you, and people will be very happy to be in your company, and students will be inspired. So all the best to you all. Be connected. Atul and I are on social media. You can all be connected with us later and watch these videos on YouTube. Over to
So
you, Dr.
Monica ma'am raised her hand, and I think she wants to ask a question. So Monica, I put you on screen. You possibly can, if you put your video on, you can ask a question. You did put your hand up. Monica? Okay, possibly I think this was by mistake. So I'm going to mute you, ma'am. Monica ma'am, are you speaking? Let's see. Okay, I think she's not there. Okay, Dr. Soni, your last thoughts.
Yeah, so it's very nice to hear Mr. Vivek Atray's this webinar lecture, very informative, and that is the biography by Yogi. I have this book, and that is a very good book. I recommend. Also, I used to my students also by giving the lectures on physics that you must go for this book. And whatever this you were talking about regarding the that is the happiness. This is the even the culture of our college that most of the teachers before starting their classes they used to go for some sort of these spiritual prayers and some sort of breathing exercises so that the positive thoughts can be created, the negative thoughts can be eliminated, so that the during the lectures the students may have the full focus on the lectures. So this is the practice being followed by the most of the teachers in our college. And uh, last I thank uh, Atul Khosla ji for providing us this opportunity for organizing this seminar and interacting with our staff. I am very thankful to Mr. Vivek Atray, who is the ex-IAS and a very good public speaker. And as the words I listen him, it really shows that he's a very good public speaker, and his views are very positive views on the talks. And I am also thankful to Mr. Gaurav Bali, who has contacted me on phone regarding the organizing of this webinar. So for the last 1 week, there was a one-to-one conversation between me and Gaurav regarding the hosting of this webinar. So I also thank Gaurav. I thank Shikha Sood also, and I thank uh, Atul Khosla ji as well as Vivek Atray ji. Thank you a lot for providing this informative webinar for our students. And I hope that this type of webinars we will be able to organize in future also. Today, that is the participation number was less. Reason being, as I told you, that yesterday it was a very heavy storm, and there was a power cut off, and till time power has not come. So while my video was off, I talked to my lot of people. So most of the people's that is mobile's battery has drained off.
We
Their
can
laptop
understand that, Dr.
was
Soni.
not charged. So, but even then, I have tried my best that more and more people should join. And
No,
that is a fantastic webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Soni. Will be on YouTube, so you can watch us on YouTube. We understand there's no power because you're dark right now. So having coming from Himachal, I understand how thunderstorms kill power. But it was so amazing to talk to you. I think the energy we got from you and your colleagues is absolutely smashing. Clearly, Government College, Dharamshala is great. So keep it up. And my last thoughts are going to be safe, be happy, don't worry. Hakuna Matata, a very famous song of Lion King. Don't worry, be happy, because happiness creates success. With these words, thank you very much, Vivek. Thank you, Dr. Soni. Thank you, teachers from Government College, Dharamsala. Delighted to talk to you. And at Shoolini, would love to welcome all of you at our campus. Come and stay with us. And we'd also love to come and visit you. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.